Thank you so much for joining me and the kitties for practice today. This 30-minute practice will pack a lot into a short amount of time. This is for you if you spend a lot of time sitting. We'll focus on waking up the areas that completely go to sleep while you're sitting, such as your glutes, your back body, your legs, as well as expanding and opening and stretching the areas that also suffer from sitting, your shoulders, your chest, the hips. So when you're ready, roll out your mat and let's get practicing. Let's start in a comfortable cross-legged seat towards the side of the mat. So facing instead of the front, the side, right in the center of the mat. So you've got lots of space beside you. Sit up tall and ground your hips and just let the arms fall down to the knees or to the laps. Relax your wrists and your fingertips. And close your eyes. Let's take a little bit of time to find a nice pace of breath. Noticing the inhales, the pauses, the exhales, and the pauses. And essentially, before the flurry of movement starts, just stopping, centering, becoming more connected. Start to stretch out the breath a little bit more. If possible, turning on your Ujjayi breath, that gentle restriction at the back of your throat, creating this audible quality to your breath. So that in a moment when we connect our breath to movement, you can really hear the breath. You can use it to guide you. And flutter the eyes open. Right away, switch up the crossing of your shins so the opposite shin goes in front. And let's just start with an easy side bend. Right fingertips out beside right hip. Left arm reaches long on the inhale. On your exhale, reach up and over to your right. Anchoring down that left hip. You can find a few pulses here if that feels good. I want you to really explore, see what feels interesting for you today. You can turn down the top shoulder, then roll it back. Or any other movement, action that comes to mind that feels good for you. Nice. And lift on back through center and go right over to the other side. Left fingertips land, right arm, right side lifts. Inhale. Exhale, lean up and over to your left, keeping that right hip down. Maybe pulsing it out. Or closing, rolling down, rolling open. Listening for that smooth, steady breath that we tapped into at the start of the practice. Rise back up. Take both hands behind the back, fingertips facing forward, lean back, and open the feet to a seated frog pose so that the inner knees are in line with the inner ankles and we're pressing pinky toe edges of the feet down. Hello. Lift the chest up. Good. And then turn towards the back of your mat, dropping the front knee in, rolling to the pinky toe edge of that back leg. Come back through center and switch. Windshield wiper your knees towards the front. And come back through center and switch. And back through center and switch, turning forward. And this time, when you turn towards the back of the mat, crawl your fingertips towards the back of the mat so you're leaning out over that back shin. And then walk it back through center, and do the same to the front. And take a couple more rounds on your own. And if you want to get a little bit more active through the hips, maybe you do this with no hands, leaning out. Try to keep your butt towards the back of the mat. Last option is see if you can, without the hands, lift the hips just an inch away from the mat and set it back down. If that's not good for your knees, just skip that variation. One more each side. Starting to wake up the areas that might have been asleep all day if you were sitting. We'll meet back through center. Grab ankles, bring the soles of the feet together for seated Baddha Konasana cat-cows. So your heels might be in close, they might be a little further away. We're just warming up. It doesn't have to be your deepest butterfly pose. Relax the outer edges of the knees, hold ankles or knees, and we'll take some spinal waves. Showing you from the side, shoulders back, lift the heart as you inhale. Exhale, press your heart back, round the back body. Inhale, lifting the heart through the arms, shoulders down the back body. Exhale, rounding back. A couple more cycles on your own. Maybe even starting to lean forward a little bit more on the inhales. Getting into those hips and inner thighs. Good. Nice. Then sitting up tall, use your hands to bring the knees together. Drop your knees forward, roll towards the front of the mat, and find tabletop, stepping your knees back to hip width apart. Spread the fingers, shoulders over wrists, waking up our hands and wrists. Draw circles with your shoulders over the wrists, starting any direction you like. We know that we spend time on our hands in the practice, so let's find that connection to the earth, the gripping of the fingertips, the fanning out of the fingers. Go the opposite direction with your circles a couple times. Then pause in tabletop. Tuck your toes under. Strong straight arms hugging upper arms towards one another. Hover your knees just an inch above the mat. Floating table. Right away feeling that core connection. Good. And then mosey back. Nice and easy. Downward facing dog. Aligning the biceps with your ears. Walking out the legs. Swaying out the hips. Any movement here that you'd like to explore that feels right in this down dog. Shaking the head out. Really try to connect the inner edges of your hands to the mat. Press more weight there than towards the pinky edges. We want to hold the weight towards the index knuckle and the thumb so our wrists aren't complaining when we're on our hands, especially when it comes to being on just one hand. Good. And bend your knees deeply, heels lifted. Imagine the legs here are your drivers. Press forward to high plank, rolling through the spine until shoulders are over the wrists, fingertips are the brakes. Then bend your knees, roll it up and back, down dog. Again, inhale, sweeping forward, high plank. Exhale, bend knees, up and back, down dog. One more time, inhale, rolling forward, high plank. Exhale, bend knees, mosey back, down dog. This time roll forward, high plank, inhale. Lower through chaturanga or modified chaturanga all the way to your belly. Releasing onto the belly, press toenails into the mat. Let the fingertips find a home on either side of the mat. Roll shoulders down the back body. Lift up through the chest. We'll circle out our cobras today. So take your chest to the right, down towards the mat, left and up. Inhale. Exhale, circle around. So find just an easy pace with these circles and reverse your direction. Let the shoulders move as well as you circle around you with your chest. Keep the legs active, toenails pressed to the mat. Good. Then lift straight up, hold, reach the hands back behind you. The chest will lower a little bit here and float your feet, Shalabhasana. Stretching the legs back. Activating the back body, another area that might be asleep for most of the day, especially if you're sitting, and rounding and slouching. So squeeze shoulder blades down the back, fingers reach back, glutes are squeezing. Breathe. Keep the height of the chest. Place the hands underneath the shoulders. Push into your hands. Come up cobra pose. Tops of the feet pressed to the mat. Inhale. Tuck your toes, hips to heels. Exhale through a child's pose to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Lift your right leg. Inhale. Exhale, step your right foot to your left thumb. So a cross body. And then right away, step the left foot behind the right foot. Line up your pinky toes. So the inner thighs are crossing, right knee in front of left knee, and fold in here. Right knee can bend as much as you need it to. You can also prop up blocks underneath your hands. Looking for a little sensation in that outer left thigh. Take a deep breath. Good. And simply step your right foot next to your left foot, Utkatasana chair pose. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Hello, glutes, arching the back up. Inhale. And straighten the legs, exhale, hands to heart center. Arms by the sides, circle them tall. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, draw hands back through heart center as you fold down. Halfway lift. Inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold fingertips down. Step your left foot towards the back left corner of the mat. Take your hands to the inside of the right foot and then press your hips back, straightening the front leg just a little more. Our modified pyramid. I'm in a little really long stance here. You can also hop the back foot in and shorten your stance as needed. Nice. Then bend your right knee. Left palm plants in line with the right foot. Reach your right arm up. Stretching the fingertips up, stacking your shoulders. Inhale. Look down, exhale, right hand to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Right as the right foot lands, inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot steps to right thumb, our cross step. Right foot behind left foot. Inner thigh squeeze. It's kind of funny looking. Bend your left knee and fold. Try to keep the right leg straighter so that you get that IT band stretch. Relax through the head. Pulse a little bit. Find your free movement that feels good. And then step left foot next to right foot. Bend your knees. Sit the hips low. Sit weight to the heels. Inhale. Chair pose. Exhale. Straighten the legs. Hands to heart center. Drop the hands so that you can circle them up on the inhale. Exhale. Hands pass through heart center as you fold, softening the knees. Inhale. Lifting up halfway. Exhale, fold fingertips down. This time, step right foot towards the back right corner of the mat. Hands to the inside of your left foot. And press your hips back to straighten the front leg a little bit more. If you went too long with it, you can always hop that back foot in a bit closer. Take a deep breath. Nice. Bend into your left knee, open twist. The right palm plants. The left arm lifts up. Lift your chest up. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, look down. Left hand to the mat. Step it back, downward facing dog. Option to hold or take your first vinyasa. Driving forward to high plank. Inhale. Exhale, taking your chaturanga half push up. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, moving back to downward facing dog. Right away, right leg lifts. We're going to do the same flow again. Inhale. Exhale, right foot to left thumb. Step the left foot behind the right foot. Fold in for a breath. Then step right foot next to left foot, bend your knees on the inhale, chair pose. And this time, instead of driving into heels, see if you can come up onto your toes, lifting the heels, squeezing knees, squeezing inner thighs. If you've got any ankle injuries, skip this variation. If you can, start to straighten the legs with the heels still lifted. Become your tallest self. Squeeze the inner thighs. Inhale. Exhale, heels down, hands to heart center. Whew. Circle the arms. Inhale. Exhale, hands through heart center, fold softly. Lift up halfway, inhale. Exhale, fold fingertips down, left foot steps back. Hands to the inside of the right foot or even slightly forward. Rock the hips back to straighten the front leg a little bit more. Then bend your right knee, left hand down, right arm lifts, either straight up or even more of an opening. Maybe you turn the chest up to the ceiling and the right hand reaches behind you. Inhale. Look down, exhale, right hand to the mat, step it back, down dog. As the right foot lands, the left leg lifts. Inhale. Exhale, left foot to right thumb, right foot steps behind left foot, our cross step, our cross legs. Fold in for a moment, seeking out that sensation in that outer right hip. Good. And then step your left foot next to your right foot, chair pose, bend your knees, take a big breath. Good. And see if you can rock up onto the toes again. One more time, squeezing the knees, lifting your heels. Power of toes presses you up, up, up. Keep squeezing everything towards the midline. Inhale. Exhale, heels down, hands to heart center. Drop the arms, sweep them up. Inhale. Exhale, fly your chest, your arms down. Lift up halfway. Inhale. Exhale, fingertips to the mat, right foot steps back. And this time, rock your hips back. Hands can crawl forward or stay to the inside of that left foot and straighten your left leg. Bend your left knee, right hand down, left arm up, open twist. Maybe even reaching behind the line of that left shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale, left hand to the mat. Step it back, downward facing dog. And again, maybe taking a vinyasa, maybe not. Inhale, forward plank. Exhale, forward and down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra, toenails press to the mat. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in and sigh it out. Lower your knees to the mat for a moment. Untuck your toes. Sit back on top of your shins, reaching the arms straight up. Inhale. Exhale, pull the elbows down by your side ribs and the shoulder blades down the back. 2 more. Inhale. Reach up like you're grabbing something. Exhale, pull down with tension in the arms. 1 more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull down, bind the hands behind the back, interlacing your fingers, pressing the palms, squeezing the elbows towards one another, then maybe reaching the fingertips down towards your feet a little bit more. Try not to just straighten the arms and lock out your elbows. Really work that hugging of the upper back, of the elbows towards one another. 3, alternatively, you could hold a strap behind you or opposite forearm. 2, lift that chest. And 1, release the bind from behind the back. Interlace the fingers in front of you, clasp the palms, and bind in front of you and roll out the wrists. With figure 8s. Good, and then switch opposite thumb on top and roll it out again. If you need to release some tension in the neck as you draw circles and figure 8s with your wrists, you can also draw semicircles with the head. Nice. Shake it out. Let's make our way back, downward facing dog. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, hips up and back. Good. Bend knees, lift heels, look forward. Hop or step your toes behind your wrists to the top of the mat. Once the feet land hips distance apart, is gently roll up the spine to standing. Standing tall. Take your hands to your hips. Leaning weight into the left foot. Lift your right knee up in line with the hip and draw circles here. Hello, hip joint. And the circles might start small and a little bit stiff. Move opposite direction a couple times. Good. Nice. And then sweep that right leg back behind you. Step open to warrior 2. Chances are we didn't land perfectly, so bend deeper into that front knee. Set up your heel to arch alignment by looking at the feet. Then go ahead and sweep the arms open. Imagine dragging the feet together underneath you so that you feel the inner thighs light up. And then connect the lower body to the upper body by really sensing your core. Scooping the belly up and in. You don't have to overdo the suck, just a little bit of awareness there. Long through the sides. Energy from the fingertips. Take a deep breath. Nice, and straighten your front leg. Warrior 2 to the back of the mat. Left toes turn to the side of the mat. Pivot your right toes to the back of the mat. Bend that right knee. Make sure it tracks right over the middle toe. And same actions. We'll take 2 breaths. Hugging inner thighs, dragging feet together, magnetizing them. Good, strong through the core, strong through the arms. Flip your right palm. Reverse your warrior. Let the left hand slide down the left leg as the right arm reaches long. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel, hands to either side of that right foot. Come onto the left toes and lower your left knee down to the mat. Good. Rise up towards a low lunge, shoulders over hips. We'll take right hand to the belly, back of the left hand to the low back. Drawing the belly in, and this back of the left hand helps keep the low back neutral, as well as bring that left hip forward a little bit more. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. And then maybe you start to sink the hips forward a little bit more, really stretching into that left hip while also making sure that the belly's not spilling out and you're not compressing the lumbar spine. Nice. And then if you can keep these actions, imagine the hands are still there. And if you like, take the hands up. Lift the chest a little bit more. Explore a bit more of an upper back bend. So keep everything here in the low belly, in the low back the same. Just start to lift the back of your heart a bit more. 3, 2, and 1. Release hands to either side of that right foot. Rock your hips halfway back for half splits. Walk the fingertips back, right toes pull back towards your chest. Either staying here with a long spine, driving that right heel to the mat, or adding a little bit of a twist to feel more sensation in the IT band. Walk your hands over to the outside of that right leg, and then turn your chest to the right and the hips to the right. That left shin can spin off the left side of the mat. Woo! Press the pinky toe to the right foot down. If that's too much, you can always unwind your twist. Try not to fold in if you're in this twisted variation. Keep the chest reaching between the arms. One more breath. Nice. Unwind if you are twisted. Hands frame that right leg. Bend into your right knee. Walk the fingertips slightly forward. Tuck the back toes. Lift your back knee. Rock back and forth just a few times. Nice. And then spring that left foot behind the left wrist. Folding over the legs of the back of the mat. Gentle bend to the knees. Ragdoll, roll your way up to standing. You can let there be a round to the spine here. I even like to kind of sway my torso a little side to side so I get a nice stretch in the low back. Until you're standing tall. Take the shoulders down the back and take your hands to your hips. Stand into the right foot, lift your left knee up in line with the hip. Find energy in the foot. You choose whether you're pointing it or flexing it or spreading the toes and flointing, pressing through the ball of the foot. Then circle out. Pointing your left knee in all directions like you're drawing big circles. This one's really creaky and poppy for me. If it is for you too, just go slow. No forcing those circles to be any bigger than they want to be until that joint gets a little warmer. Nice. And then simply step that left foot back, opening up to the long side of the mat again. Warrior 2, heel to arch. Bend into that right knee. Set up your base. Feel the activation of the inner thighs like your feet are trying to come together. And then spread your wings. Energy shooting out from all 10 fingers. Deep bend in that right knee. Take one more breath. Nice. Straighten the right leg. Turn the right toes towards the long side of the mat. Turn your left toes to face forward. Bend into your left knee. Warrior 2 to the front of the mat. Same actions. Make sure as you bend that knee, the knee is not deviating in or out. It's tracking straight forward. Good. Find that scooping up from beneath you to help you stand tall, but not so tall that your shoulders are right up in your ears. Good. One more deep breath. Flip the front palm to face up. Reverse your warrior. Right hand gently slides down the back leg. Left side stretches long. Inhale. Exhale, windmill hands to either side of the front foot. Roll into the toes of the back foot. Lower that back knee down. So it should be our left foot forward. Rising up to a low lunge. Left hand to belly. Back of the right hand to low back. Right hip pulls forward. Belly stays engaged. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. It's just a preference. Good. And then maybe starting to sink that left hip towards the left heel. Good. And you know you've probably gone too far and you've lost all sort of engagement in the inner thighs and connection to the belly. If your belly is spilling out and if that low back is really dipped and that hand, the left hand is starting to kind of look like a claw or a duck beak, come up a little more. Good. If you can keep these actions with the belly, the low back, the legs, maybe take the arms up and you lift your heart and you find more of a thoracic spine back bend. Shoulders back, back of the heart lifts. Maybe even your eyes lift. 3, 2, and 1. Release. Hands to frame the front foot. Rock back, half splits, Ardha Hanuman. Right hip over right knee. Left toes pull back towards left knee. Heel drives into the mat. The spine is long. Breathe. Option to stay facing forward if this is sensation enough. If you want a little bit more from the IT band and into that outer left hip, the action is move to the left. So chest, even your hips, instead of facing them forward, they're going to face to the left as well. Hands to the outside of the left leg. Let that right foot swing behind you. Pinky toe edge of the left foot presses down. Oh. Inner thighs squeeze. Reach out through the arms with your heart. Reach the heart out through the arms. And when things get intense, the natural tendency is to hold the breath, but do the opposite. We really need to just breathe deeply. Nice. One more. So good. Unwind if you were twisting. Bend the front knee again. Walk the fingertips slightly forward. Back toes tuck, back knee lifts. Rock the hips out just a couple times. Back and forth. Then spring right foot behind right hand. And this time sit down. Plump. Roll to your backs. We were working some asymmetrical poses today. So just to find symmetry, walk the feet in. Bridge pose. Tickle the heels with your middle fingers. Feet hip width apart. Drive through the feet. Lift the hips off the mat. Collarbones are coming up towards the chin. Maybe you snuggle the shoulders beneath you for more of a chest and shoulder opener. And not only is this just simply a symmetrical pose, but it's a really lovely way to open up the front chain, another area that suffers from long periods of time sitting, especially the front of the hips. If you've got a couple blocks to support you, you can place them underneath the low back. Drag the heels beneath you, the shins beneath you to light up the backs of the legs. Roll inner thighs down towards the mat. Maybe you even bind the hands underneath you. If that's too much, you don't have to, of course. Can you relax your mouth? Good. Untuck the shoulders. Gently roll down the back. Cross your right knee over your left knee. Scoot the hips to the right side of the mat. Let your knees fall left for an eagle leg twist. And for a little bit of traction, let's use the right hand to hold the top corner of the mat, bending at the elbow from the belly up into the chest, turning to the right, away from the legs. Right side is so long, right hip is moving forward. Really inflate that right side with breath. Nice. Come back through center, keeping the legs the same. So it's knee over knee, right knee is on top. We'll find Gomukhasana or Supta Gomukhasana, reclined cow face pose. Lift the knees up. You might have to curve the spine off the mat for a moment to be able to reach either ankles or shins. Some of you maybe pinky toe edges of the feet. Then relax the head and shoulders back down again. Now, I'm just going to turn this way so you can see a little bit better. If you're holding the feet more parallel, like the handlebars of a bike, right foot going left, left foot going right, and the heels are lifted, this will be more intense for the outer hips. If it's too much, feel free to drop the heels down towards your hips a little bit and back off of that sensation. And just hold on to whatever you can hold on to. We can't all grab the picky edges of the feet. It might be more the shins, and that's okay. Try to keep the tailbone pressing down to the mat so the butt isn't lifting away from the mat. Big breath in. Let it out. Good. Unwind the legs. Happy baby for a moment. Drop knees towards armpits. Reach for heels, pinky edges of the feet, or ankles again. Rock a little side to side. Nice, and then switch. Right foot lands down first. Left knee crosses over right knee, inner thighs together. Scoot hips to the left, drop knees to the right. And for that traction, for the chest, for the shoulders, left hand grabs top left corner of the mat. Back of the shoulder presses down. Right hand can rest on the top thigh. Inflate that left side with breath. Turn the chest, the belly to the left, away from the legs. Even the head away from the legs if you like. Nice, and keeping the legs the same. We'll come back through center. Make sure low back is even on the mat. Lift the feet up, knees towards chest, curl up. And again, find your handlebars, whether it's the ankles, the shins, or the pinky edges of the feet. The side might be a little different than the first one. Make your adjustments. And then relax the head and shoulders down. Remember, feet lifting away from the hips is more. Heels down, less. Try to keep the ankles crease free. So if you're pulling pinky toe edges of the feet and the ankles start to get all crinkly, then pull the toes back. Keep the feet active. Deep breath in. Sigh it out. Good. Unwind the legs. This time, hug both knees in towards the chest. Use your knees to draw circles on the low back. And as you're ready, release the feet to the mat. Let the arms just spill out to either side of you. Find a comfortable, symmetrical shape to rest in, whether it's knees knocking in or legs extended, taking up some space. And close your eyes. Coming to the end of this little slice of time that you've carved out for yourself to connect more deeply with yourself, with your breath, your body, your thoughts. And always looking for balance on and off the mat. On the mat, balancing out the effort put forth with simplicity, with stillness and ease. Dropping into Shavasana. Let the breath be unrestricted and natural. Let the body just become a puddle on your mat. Take as much time as you need. Thank you so much for sharing space with me and choosing me as your guide for your practice. I hope we'll be able to practice together again soon. Peace.